Did you ask him already?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
He didn't ask me. He just told me to ask you.
So
wait, look, I want to hear what Dolson says first.
oh, yeah, so it's bread toast.
Is that's all the information I get?
Yeah.
Is
Bread
bread toast. Is bread
No, it's
toast.
toast bread.
It's toast bread, sure.
It's toast.
Well, I actually think it's important.
Yeah.
And we're back, and Paul is adjusting his mic. We've got Paul Aror Cyno with the Styx Ferrymen for the team check-in. Paul, is bread toast? Was that what I was supposed to ask? Was that what? Did I word that properly? What's the argument?
Oh, is bread toast?
Yeah. What's the argument?
Okay. Did you ask him already?
No, I didn't.
Okay. He didn't ask me. He just told me to ask you.
So
wait, look, I want to hear what Dolson says first.
oh, yeah, so it's bread toast.
Is that's all the information I get?
Yeah.
Is
Bread
bread
toast.
toast? Is bread
No, it's
toast?
toast bread.
It's toast bread, sure.
It's toast. Same thing.
Well, I actually think it's important. Is bread toast? Bread is not automatically toast, but I think toast is always bread. That's how I see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
But no, that's what we were saying. You weren't saying that.
No, what are you talking? No, dude. Listen. All right, bread is bread, right?
Yep.
But when bread goes in the toaster and it's toasted,
Yeah,
then
it
it's
becomes
toast.
toast,
Because
right.
you can't have toast. Can't be.
Toast is bread.
Or are you saying?
yes,
Are you saying once
yes,
you
that's
toast
what you're
bread?
saying.
But bread, untoasted bread is not toast. Do you understand?
Right, untoasted bread is just bread.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Once
it's
you
not
toast it,
It's
it
not
becomes
yeah.
toast, but it is still bread when
Okay,
it's
the way you
toast.
worded it was wrong then earlier.
No
'Cause
way,
you
dude. No
did.
way.
Everybody disagreed with you
No.
earlier.
What do you mean?
Reels in a
Reels
single
had my
person.
back. What are you talking about?
Reels did not have your back.
Dude.
Reels actually did have his back.
Did
yeah.
What are you
yeah,
talking?
yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
he's tricking me. What are you saying?
Okay,
What do you
I
guys
was
have?
confused
Wait. So
then.
for sure, bread is toast. Or wait, oh my god, I'm so confused now, dude.
Well, you guys had to be up at what, 10:30 for scrims, which is unbelievable. Is that Reels' fault? Is Reels the one who scheduled the 10:30 a.m.?
The guy in the chat said this is about as serious as water is wet
Well,
argument.
oh right, chat. We are reading you. We are reading you, chat. By the way, so if you've got questions as
Which
we're
is
going
true.
on here,
It's the dumbest thing ever. It's a toast.
Who
is
brought
bread.
it up then? You brought it up.
Wait, who did bring it up?
Wasn't me.
I don't know.
Was it Reels? I don't know.
No, we were
It
talking
was
about beans
the
on toast.
Oh yeah, we were
That's
talking about
it.
beans on toast.
when you
yeah.
have to toast it because otherwise the toast gets soggy, right?
Yeah, and I said I had beans on bread, and then it was the whole.
Yeah, and
argument.
then
very
we said
British
it's the
of you.
same thing.
Yeah, and I said it wasn't.
I want to know who.
Is that the same thing?
Sorry, what? Water is wet and toast is bread?
No. Is beans on toast and
Right.
beans on bread the same thing? Obviously, it's not, but in here, like, it is the same thing though. At the same time, because if toast is always bread, then beans on bread is always toast. If toast is bread on beans,
Is beans on
I don't
bread? No, I would argue beans on bread is not the same as beans on toast.
Yeah.
If bread and toast are not the same thing, then they have to be two different things,
okay,
right?
Are you playing Chaac Jungle with the buff or no? That's what
No.
someone asked.
Yeah, Cyno, were you amped watching the update show? If you're not watching this live, the day before we recorded this, there was a big update, and they talked about some healer changes, things like that. Chaac got some love. Is Chaac Jungle making the return?
Yeah, I will be playing it for sure.
Understood.
First game of SPL, you can lock that in.
I love how the first thing at Worlds that got talked about on the desk was how bad Cyno's Chaac Jungle was. That was literally, they opened the show with that.
Yeah, but
That
who
was
else
the
is
first
playing
thing.
Chaac Jungle? Like,
But I just love how
I think
that.
Cyno's
that-
Chaac
that
Jungle
was-
it's the best and the worst in the world at the same time because he's the only one playing.
I remember just in the player room and we watched like the opening and the first desk segment. Literally, the second sentence is about how bad Cyno's Chaac Jungle is. That was literally.
Who said that? Do you remember?
I think
Was it one of the guests? Hopefully it was one of the guests,
it
and not
was-
us.
I think it was Gore, and then I think it got brought up. by,
Herwin did say it as well.
Yeah, Herwin backed him up.
So I
but
will be picking it against
but it-
Herwin.
You should, as you should.
But it got. I love how that was like the first thing. we were the last set of the day, I remember, and then we just start watching it, and they're talking about Chaac Jungle. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, and you have to wait all day, and that's living in your brain all day long. And then it ended up being like a bunch of Thanatoast. There's a Thanatoast skin. Is that the same as Thanabread? If we had, could our art team come out with a Thanabread skin and have it technically be different from Thanatoast?
I mean, it's just not toasted. Right?
But it's still bread at the same time.
Yeah, it's bread, but it's not toasted. It's
Yeah,
on toast.
okay.
Because toasted
I think we're
bread
all on the
that's
same
toasted.
page here
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
We're arguing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you? Okay, you actually brought this up. It's a pretty good thought experiment, I think. We were wondering what the caster mindset, what the storyline of the Styx Ferrymen would be over the course of season 10. What would you guys like me to make your storyline? If you had to think, if I want the casters to say this about us, and here's our story as a team, what do you think would make the most sense? A run back of Splice plus Paul and Baskin. Paul, Aror, and the spinner are at it again. Baskin looking for his super team.
What do you think, Paul?
They're gonna theory craft during the regular season, then somehow go on a world's run again. What would you guys like your storyline to be? I'm taking bribes right now, and I will make your storyline whatever you want it to be.
6 ferrymen just rowing downstream.
Did anyone pick up on? Because you guys were tweeting the rowboat emoji a whole lot.
Yeah.
Did anyone pick up on that before the actual teams were announced?
One person.
One dude.
Yeah, I think one guy.
One dude. Yep.
Yeah.
Did someone break and like the tweet, or did you all keep it under wraps?
I don't think
We all kept it under wraps. Yeah.
But I think one guy actually guessed. It was no one that we knew either,
Yeah,
so it was like
random.
not mutual friend of anybody.
Yeah.
So
Was the roster announced at that point, just not the team names?
our roster, it was weird. All the roster leaks came out, and I saw them, and the only team that was right was our team. So that was kind of weird. I thought as well. Like
Who leaks them? Do you know who the?
I have
do you know
no
who the source
idea.
is?
I have no idea.
It's
but-
got to be like one of you guys tells a close friend, and then they let it slide to like a close friend, and like someone.
and then it just becomes a wildfire.
Right.
Yeah.
That's got to be right.
But it was weird that like I feel like no one on our team talks to like anybody deep within the Smite community like that. So I was just surprised that our team was guessed right. All the other teams were wrong, completely wrong as well. It wasn't even close. So
Well, I think the odds of Paul plus Aror, and I think the future for Cyclonespin wasn't completely locked in, but the odds of you three in some organization sticking together was pretty high, and then you guys went on a great run with Cyno, and so that made sense. How soon after Worlds would you say you guys had this roster on the paper, locked in? Was that a quick process, or was there some wheeling and dealing going on for a few weeks?
for me, I feel like it's different for me for every single year because everybody always talks about all this drama. I guess it is drama in a sense, but like I like to take my time, which I kind of feel like it affects other people, which is not a good thing.
Yeah,
for
but
the other
everyone's taking
people.
their time, right?
I don't think so. Everybody's instantly trying to do stuff like go like right away. Like
Yeah.
I'm
At the
always
after
like
party.
I always like want a day or two to like actually think about it. I don't want to make a decision, especially right after we lose the set. People are already talking about what they want to do. Like I'd like to take at least like a day, 2 days, even 3 days sometimes to just think about it, and not really have any decision made because I don't really. What I always have tried to do since I've played the game, which is why I feel like I've been able to stay around a long time, is that I just try to take everything day by day and just try to live in the present as much as possible. I don't really try to think about what I'm doing next year, like because it doesn't matter. So, because next year I could just not be on a team realistically. Like it's not up to me if I get to play or not. So,
is there a lot of wheeling and dealing that goes on at the after party? Because I hear a lot of this, and it's like, obviously when people get some drinks in them, they're feeling good. They're all talking, oh, we should totally team together and all these sorts of things. How much of that actually sticks?
I think people just like use it as like see if somebody would want to play with them. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I would definitely be interested. Just seeing who's like what's interested, but like rosters don't get like confirmed at the after party for sure.
I would be a coach if the after party rosters were. I think Zap. It was actually really funny. There was a play. It was like Zap, maybe adapting. There's a few players standing around and they were talking, joking about like who would play what role if they formed a team. And I was standing there talking to them, and they all look at me and they're like, "All right, clearly this guy's not playing on any role, so you can be our coach." And so I'm the coach of that team if we're taking after party rosters as gospel.
Nice.
Paul, what was post Worlds future decision making like for you? Was there ever non-playing consideration? Was there roster jump around consideration? What was your off season like?
No, I was gonna play for sure. I wasn't ever gonna like stop playing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to try to. I want to win Worlds again, man. Come on, dude. I gotta get 3. But yeah,
Getting close.
I just want to say before, dude. People do stuff like quickly after World, bro.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
You're literally bro. You're flying. You haven't even. You're still in Texas, bro. You're getting like Twitter messages. You're
you
like,
land
okay.
and you got DMs from people from.
Yeah,
No,
nah.
it's like in the car to the airport, like, or like
Yeah.
literally the night of after the final set, and I'm like, I just want to think about things a little bit.
But I'm walking off stage and I hear a notification in my phone. I'm just
bro,
kidding
let's
about
team
that
up.
one. That was a little too, but yeah, I don't know, dude. Just I feel like we made finals and it was sweet. So
Yeah.
we did pretty successful on this roster. So
How did Baskin come to be? What were those conversations like? Who spearheaded? Who DM'd Baskin the moment finals was over? Or did one of you guys chat with him at the after party? I'm saying that kiddingly, of course.
Did you talk
I actually
to
did
him?
talk to Baskin at the after party.
Did you?
But at the
Did you
after
talk
party,
to him about Smite?
well, I asked him what he was doing next year, and when I was at the after party, it actually sounded like he wasn't going to play next year.
Yeah.
So honestly, at the beginning, we didn't think he was going to play, so we were looking at other options. But I think we just ended up messaging him and we just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I remember I was talking to Cyno, like, I think the day I got home, like, and because I told Cyno I wanted to play with him again because I never got a chance, like, after we won Worlds, like, we never got a chance to really run it back, which felt really bad. And then Paul got the free W that year. Even though it wasn't so free, you guys actually, that was crazy, double reverse sweep, right, and to win.
something like
'Cause
that.
it was
Yeah.
what
They
was that
reverse
the
swept
first
us.
SSG?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
reverse sweep.
They
Yeah.
reverse swept us, and then they reverse swept SSG, and then they won against, was it Ghost or Rival
That would
back
have been
then?
Rival
Yeah,
in season
Rival.
6.
Yeah. But yeah, I never got a chance to run it back with Cyno, so I always enjoyed playing with him a lot, and
Yeah.
it was cool to get to play with him again. So I told him I wanted to play with him again this year, and I really wanted to play with Paul again as well, because I enjoy playing with Paul. And then
You're just gaming. Paul, are you tired of the I'm just gaming, or do you lean into it? You happy with I'm just gaming?
Well, I think people are just like, I mean, I'm just gaming, but you don't gotta keep saying I'm just
All
gaming.
right, all right, we're moving on. This is the year of something new. We're gonna find
I
out
like
something.
that. Yeah. I like
But
that.
Yeah,
for,
sorry, Aror.
for Baskin, I told Cyno that I didn't think he was gonna play because we were talking about options, and I told Paul, I'm like, yeah, we don't know who we want to get for a soul lane, and I'm like, I don't think he's gonna play. And then Cyno's like, I'll just message him to make sure, and he actually said he'd be down to maybe try playing. So, and that's how it kind of came to be. And then
if you will, say as much or as little as you feel like, with Cyclonespin, for one reason or another, stepped away last year. Was it always obvious to him from what any of you can gather that he wanted to come back this year? Did it take some enticing?
Well, I think he wanted to play again for sure. Like last year just didn't work. Like
Yeah.
him, Sot, and Layers just didn't get along. That was
Right.
like the main reason why that happened. And it was like we either have to replace Sot and Layers if we wanted to keep playing with Cyclone, or replace Cyclone. And I felt like it was a lot easier at the time.
On short notice, sure.
Yeah, short notice, and during the time of the season was to just get a new Hunter player. And it was rough, but it ended up we didn't do too bad. So yeah.
What, obviously it's got to be a mixed bag of emotions, right? You make it to finals after what was a great run. You go all 5 games in the semifinals. As you're able to kind of step back from Worlds and take that in, think about it. In any of your minds, does that fuel you more for the next year? Is that disheartening in a way? I'm sure it's different for each of you maybe, but how does that Worlds run feed into Season 10 of Smite and your motivation for more competitive gaming?
I mean, for me personally, I didn't like last year. I was in squad. I didn't think I was ever gonna play SPL again.
And here you are.
Yeah. Like I honestly did not think I was ever gonna play again. And then Stu messaged me actually.
Yeah.
It wasn't even Aurora. And I ended up playing, and honestly that Worlds run just kind of reminded me like how much I love competing.
Yeah.
And how much I love competitive Smite. So after that Worlds run, I decided I 100% wanted to play again.
Yep. How about you, Aurora? What was the after you're able to get back, decompress a little bit? Do you feel the fire is fueled in season 10?
Oh yeah.
Because it's it's now been back-to-back years, right? Where you've gotten to finals a couple of times, and I mean, still an incredible accomplishment. But does that fuel you in a way year to year to kind of take that next step again?
Yeah, sorry. You read what Coast said in chat.
Oh, what did he say? He just wants to play Bacchus solo. Who's that referencing?
He's referencing me, but
you? Is that true?
It's a good inside joke that that'll probably last the entire year. But for this past Worlds run, I was just happy on how well we did. I feel like given all the circumstances with our team, like having to make as many roster moves as we did at the end of the season and just being able to do as good as we did. I thought we were in a really good spot in the finals versus the Kings. I know that they 3-0'd us and it looked like a stomp of a set, which it was. I feel like if we were able to get like anything going at all and just put some pressure on them, it could have been at least a good competitive set. But first game, it was not great. But then we didn't ever bounce back after that. But for the rest of the year, like it felt really good to just do as well as we did, despite like the circumstances at least. But the year before, it felt really disheartening to lose because, like against the Leviathans, because I felt like I don't know how many scrims we lost that year, but it was not many, and we won both tournaments as well, which is very unlikely in Smite, I feel like, because going into events, the team that usually is losing scrims tends to win the event. It's not even like a troll thing, it's just what happens. But like, we were winning every single scrim almost, probably, I'd say 90% of our scrims that first year, once we got layers, we won the mid-season one, and then we won the event. We were just like coasting through that entire thing, and then we won the reverse sweep set against the Kings in the finals, the third phase, and then Worlds we were just doing so well, and then we just lost in the finals. It wasn't great, but
do you think that that spark is it additive in your mind for you as a player? Is kind of thinking about that for a couple of years back to back, is it additive in a motivation to come back the next year and do better, or do you feel like you roll your eyes a bit and it disheartens you? I think there's two different ways that people can go with that. I
like winning, so I want to win again.
Yeah, of course.
That's where I'm at, basically. Yeah. That's how I've always been. So I definitely want to win, and it's definitely been like super motivating to just make finals back-to-back years and not able
which is still an incredible achievement, by the way. I think it's I'm sure as players, it's like the goal is to win, right? To win Worlds. Obviously it's easy to just focus on that, but from an outside perspective, especially, I mean, the Leviathans chose you guys first.
Oh, we can talk about that.
Yeah, the Leviathans chose you guys first, and you smack them, and then you go to 5 against the Dragons and win that. I mean, it's okay. In and of itself, it's an achievement.
One thing I want to say about that is that there's nothing else that I want to say about the Leviathans picking us, but I just want to say we played one block of scrims with Cyno, and we beat the Oni Warriors, and then we lost or whatever, and we might have not had the best qualification tournament, but we had one block of scrims with Cyno, we beat the Oni Warriors, and then they picked us over the Oni Warriors.
Oh, you're talking about for the division.
I don't care about any other team. Like if we got picked and Oni Warriors weren't available, that's fair or whatever. If they picked, like if Oni Warriors got picked first or whatever, and then the two SEC teams were left, and they're like, I don't know, it's a question mark about these teams. But I feel like that team played the Oni Warriors a good amount that year, so I feel like they should have known
what
to expect with the Oni Warriors. But That's the only thing that I'm going to say about that whole situation.
I thought it was really interesting how every SPL team that got to choose was so afraid of Hex Mambo. They were literally terrified.
I know.
And then they just got like swiftly 2-0'd by Bolts. It was like...
Yeah, I think because we did kind of a pre-show and looking at the bracket and how all of that broke down. And I think that was one that a lot of people kept that matchup. That quarterfinal was one a lot of people ended up getting hung up on was Bolts versus Mambo and which of the two teams is going to fight for position, get to the semifinals. Yeah, and after all of that, it ended up being convincing for the Bolts. But Paul, you talk about wanting to win again, and that feels like your motivation clearly is still there. I mean, you've won 2. You've been to, 4 in a row now, 4 finals in a row.
Yep.
Is that, as a player, do you still consider that an achievement when you look at what you've done, the fact that you've been to 4 finals in a row? Is that something you give yourself credit for? Or
Yeah.
do you feel like winning is it? And
I mean, I want to win, but I guess 4 finals is still pretty good. So
sure is.
Gonna make that 5.
Yeah, the Styx Ferrymen angled for season 10 grand finals.
Yeah.
You got to angle for. Well, I was just talking about this with the Hounds. They said they're angling for top 1, so even if they fall short, they can still be like top 4 or something like that. Unfortunately, the highest you can angle is top 1, so you can't go much higher than that. I think one thing, and maybe this is along the storyline conversation, is in years of past, this sort of core of the roster has won the tournaments and really showed up come tournament time, and then kind of have middle of the road standings finishes during like the actual phases, right, during the actual matches. One, does the Styx Ferrymen team feel like a team that's going to kind of theory craft, get a lot of learning and those sorts of things done during the regular season? Do you feel like this is a team just built for tournament time? Is that a storyline that any of you think about, pay any attention to, pay any credence to?
I think for me, like every year, like I don't really ever think about it like that. I just think about, I just want to improve every week. And if we can do that, like I say it all the time, like in the interviews, is like all that matters if we get better. Because if you don't get better, you're not gonna win anything. So, just even if we have a loss, like in the regular phase, or if we're winning every single game, like regardless of what's happening in the regular phase, if we're not improving, we're not gonna win at all any of the big events. So the main focus is just improvement every single week for me.
Do you think that that's a skill that's taken some time to cultivate, where you're able, even in losses during the regular season, take some good from it, take some improvement from? Or do you think as a player you've always kind of been that way?
Well, it's a lot easier, I think everybody would tell you, is like to learn things when you're losing. It's a lot harder to learn when you're winning. So it just depends, I feel like. But losing is definitely easier to learn from than when you win. Because when you win, everybody's like, yeah, we won. And then you like look past like some small mistakes that we're like, whatever, we won anyways.
Right.
So
I think, I don't know, this year, I mean, we say this every year, but after, it feels like we go in these like 2-year cycles of roster changes where rosters sort of stick together, and then every couple of years they all kind of break up and do different things. You guys have, I mean, it's still, there's history amongst this team, right? I mean, some of you won Worlds together and have played together in the past, right? I mean, it's
season 3 or season 4 actually. Yeah.
When did Baskin join Splice? That was post
season 6.
That was post
Cyno
Worlds.
was on the team.
I've never played with Baskin before.
Right.
Yeah.
So you won Worlds with Splice and then left, and then Baskin joined in. That's got to be, I think, an exciting thing to look forward to with this team. What do you, early indicators? We've only had a little bit of time to watch this organization of the Styx Ferrymen team. What do you feel like the identity of the Ferrymen is this year, play style wise? Whether it's on field, off of field. What are some things you think you guys are going to do well? What phases of the game do you think you can focus on as potential areas for improvement? What make the Styx Ferrymen work in your mind?
You want me to go? I don't want to keep talking. I feel like I'm.
I don't know what to say. We have Paul, I guess.
What is our strength, dude? I don't know.
Well, I feel like right now we don't really
Everything.
like right now it's the beginning of the year. We're trying to still find our identity. Like Cyclone took when Cyclone was away, he wasn't really playing that much Smite, so he's just getting back in the groove of things. I feel like these past right around the kickoff tournament time is like right when he got back into like the swing of things completely, and I feel like he's just been improving every single week. So I feel like we don't really have a solid team identity right now, but I feel like what we've done well in scrims is that we've held each other accountable for our mistakes, which is always a good sign for early on in a team. Like a good example. Okay, I don't know if I want to get into this, but I guess I will a little bit. Like season 7, we did not hold each other accountable for anything, and we did not improve at all that entire year. I feel like we were the same team that year as we were at the start of the year towards the end of the year. We never held each other accountable for anything.
Right.
And it was like impossible to communicate and like
that's not easy, right? That's not easy to build. Takes work.
Yeah, and then I feel like this year it's just a lot like it's always a good sign at the start of the year if you can actually hold people accountable for their mistakes and actually talk through it a little bit and actually improve it.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. We have such a small sample size on teams and what they're doing. There is some fun going on in chat. So one angle is that they're going to be playing the Chungle is potentially a source of team identity for the Styx Ferrymen team. Do you guys have a preference on Styx or Ferrymen? Do you want us to? Well, it's got to be the Ferrymen, right? I don't know how that question reads, to be honest. I read it without really thinking about it. It's got to be Ferrymen.
Ferrymen for sure.
Ferrymen.
What are you guys going to say in the cast?
Ferrymen.
The Ferrymen?
Ferrymen,
The
yeah.
sticks are going down to fire.
Yeah,
Because that's just the name of the river, right?
Yeah.
Probably the Ferrymen.
Let's go or let's row?
Let's row.
Let's row for sure.
Really?
I hate let's go.
Row it down.
Row it down, baby.
Let's go has become such like a catch-all phrase for every sport, esport, everything, always, ever.
I've always hated it. I've said it before, like, but I always try to catch myself when I'm saying let's. I always try to say something else because I just hate let's go for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just don't like it.
It's funny because there's so many clips of like highlights, whether it's traditional sports or esports, where like a player makes a big play and you can stand up and you read their lips and it's always let's go. They stand up and yell it every single time.
I do that, yeah.
Hey, look, when you're in the moment, the quickest thing that comes to mind, it still looks good. Cyno, you got a question from chat, and then Paul, you're gonna have one after that. Are you gonna play regular picks, or no?
I will be picking what I think is good. Maybe that's not regular, but I always I don't pick stuff I pick stuff because I think it'd be good. I actually think it's really important to try to push the meta.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like Thanatoast obviously worked. I would say it worked pretty well.
Sure.
Sometimes the Chaac did not work. I think that's fair to say. But
good nowadays though.
I mean, I play stuff in scrims. If I think it's good, I'm gonna play it. That's like my mindset. So.
Yep.
If it works, it works.
What might be not regular to everyone else is maybe what is actually what should be regular for the rest of the meta. Cyno's just ahead of the curve a little bit. Paul, is mid broken right now, and do you love it?
On the current patch, it's really good, yeah, but I don't think it's broken.
What were your takes after the update show yesterday? Percent pen is taking a bit of a hit. Unless you're Giannis, then you get to.
I mean, for Joust, it's over for them, bro. 6 tanks, it's over. But Conquest, I mean, I don't know, man. Tanks are gonna be harder to kill, but I only played like a couple hours on the new patch, so I don't really know. But it's probably still fine for mid lane. I don't think it's. I mean, it's definitely not broken. Like
right.
that's dumb, but.
Yeah, and you should feel bad about asking that question.
Probably
just
like
kidding.
Mid to strong. Yeah, I don't know.
Aurora, do you feel like tanks? It's your day in the sun in this upcoming.
Yeah, he thinks support's really broken.
That's right. You've been on, but I feel like you've been on the support is broken train for like 3 years now. I feel like regardless of meta, support has always been broken, which is refreshing because normally players harsh on their own role a bit.
Well, I just do that because everybody always says support's so bad. I'm like, it's just, for me, it's
So
just
what is
like,
it really, Aror? Stop toying with my emotions.
I
Am I
don't-
supposed to think support's good or is it bad?
sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's actually
I think
good.
it's pretty good right now, right? I'd say.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and sometimes it's just like average. Like, I feel like the role is, at least in competitive, is really determining like how your team plays. It's not really on the roll most of the time. Like sometimes the items are like really insane. Like the beginning of this year when Prophetic Cloak had like 1 million prots, and then even like on the PTS, like it had even more. It was like, I think it gave 40 of each or something. It was like insane. But right now I think they're in a pretty good spot. I think there's a lot of god variety, which is always like a good thing in a role. Like if you can play a lot of gods and they all potentially be good. There's definitely some picks that are like a tier above some of the other support gods, but I feel like after those gods, like it's a pretty big range of characters you can play.
Right. And Bacchus solo potentially, whatever that had to do with Coast. Do you and Coast have a rapport? Is that a?
Yeah, me and Coast have beef. That's
Do you?
that's what he would say. That's not what
Okay.
I'd say.
What would you say?
That Coast is a really nice guy.
I'm expecting some spice out of the dual lane then
Yeah.
at some point this year when you guys are he's in chat still. And he's still talking about it. Doesn't like you. We mentioned this earlier when talking about your team and how much you can really pull from the kickoff tournament, which is not much, right? Looking at some of the teams and some of the performances we saw, though, how much do you guys think that's indicative of team strength over the course of the year? Oni Warriors, as an example, I think I certainly never voted them as last in the league, but people were unsure how to feel about that squad. You look at a team like them, a team like the Jade Dragons. Is this an early indication that it could be a year where those are the two top teams? Do you think it's flash in a pan, or is it just simply too early to tell with some of the top squads?
For the Oni Warriors, I think they're going to be good for sure, like this entire year.
Yep.
Like they have, I think Thanatoast's good, and having a good jungler always is good for your team, I feel like.
Right.
And I think
Where do
their
you feel like you
dual lane
land with Cyno?
Huh?
Is he a good jungler?
Yeah.
Is that good for your team?
I'm an anchor on the team.
I love
That's what Aurora
Cyno.
says.
That's not what I say.
What did
no.
you say? You're an anchor?
Yeah. That's what they tell me in scrims.
Oh, that can be a good thing. Can't an anchor be a good thing? Like if you're like anchoring the squad, you're like that's usually the last one up, and you like hold everyone down. No. We don't need to see any
Look
of
at
that.
those over there.
Yeah, look, I gave you guys some love. I wanna let it be known.
Look at those Oni Warriors picks. Wow.
This
That
was
is actually crazy.
Look, this was immediately upon roster reveal. We did not know who the
Yeah.
other two teams were. Did not know what the divisions were going to be. All right, I don't know. I can't really defend myself.
To be fair though, like our showing at the kickoff LAN, like these rankings are fair, so you can't
Minus the Oni Warriors.
minus the only no, not saying for us. I'm not talking
okay.
about any of the
So-
other teams. Like you can make arguments for the other teams or whatever, but
Sorry, I'm being a bad interviewer, and you were talking about the Oni Warriors, and I said
it's all
something.
good.
Said
I
something
mean that
about-
popped up, so it distracted all of us.
Right, perfect.
So
Do you feel like long-term success for the Oni Warriors indicated by what we saw at that kickoff tournament?
like I said, I don't think about the future that much, but right now they're definitely good, and you
Yep.
can't argue that they're not. I think like I said, Thanatoast's good. They have a really good dual lane. Like Jake got a lot of hate last year, but I've always been on the Jake train personally.
Yep.
I've always thought he's been a really good player. And then they have Sot as well.
Hang on and Sot are just.
Yeah, they just like those players just have a potential to have like a really good game.
Yep.
And as long as they don't troll, they have a good shot of winning some games. That's all
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. Like I feel like that's their biggest weakness is like how serious can they keep themselves, which I think they're definitely gonna try this year because they don't have as many people on their team to kind of pull them back as they've had in the past years.
Right. Could just be I don't know. I described it as like a Wild West type of play style. It's just everyone running around and 2v1s happening in ganks. And we did see moments for them where one guy goes on a solo mission a bit too long, and suddenly the game's in jeopardy. And then so that's a team I think a lot of people are excited to watch, but just depends on whether or not they can reel things in. Well, you just said you don't like looking at the future, but this is a group of players that at one time or another have played with individuals on this team, right? Never as a full five, but are there things that you did last year, years in past, as kind of a core of this roster that you want to do differently this year, whether that's preparation, whether that's play on field, how you decompress from games? Did you learn anything from Season 9, Season 8, teams of past that you're taking into this year as the Styx Ferrymen?
Should I go again?
Whoever wants to answer.
You got this one, yeah.
I'm waiting.
Go ahead.
Do you have anything, Paul?
Paul, what do you want to do differently this year?
I mean,
I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, Aror, I love hearing you talk,
Okay.
so it's okay.
different this year. I mean,
Do you want to do anything different this year? Do you think you can? Do you like the way you approach the game in a learning mindset, a thinking mindset? Do you think? I mean, clearly 4 finals appearances and 2 wins indicate something's going right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just hope we win some more. What was it? We won 1 tournament last
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the year before we won 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this year we gotta win 3.
Are we gonna win 0 now? Is it a down, or are we gonna go? So
Right, we're going up to the third.
Yep.
What do you think works so well for you? If you look at how you approach the game and how you think about the game, is it as simple as you are just an incredibly talented and smart SMITE player, or is there something behind the curtain you feel like that gives you more of an edge?
There's something behind the curtain, but I'm not gonna reveal it. But
Okay.
yeah, no, just I don't know, just playing the game well and.
You say
Smart.
you say that, and then you ask us to stop saying that you're just gaming.
I to be fair, I am just gaming. Yeah.
You are just gaming. Cyno, how about you? What over the course of your career? I'm having to. I have to ask pointed questions now, or Aror is going to blow his voice box. How have you changed as a player over the course of your career? Do you think? Do you approach the game differently now than you did a few years ago?
I honestly don't think so. I feel like I've played pretty similar my entire.
Yeah. I think you're a little different than when I played with you before. Okay, question for you. Am I the same players that you played with back in Season 4 and Season 5?
I honestly think so. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we've had a very similar dynamic this year. Than
Yeah.
What
We
is that
won't even-
dynamic? Jungle plus support synergy is incredibly important.
I
Are
do
you
think,
on the same page? Are you guys writing the same book?
I wouldn't say we're on the same page all the time, but I do think me and Aurora think very similar about the game.
Yes.
Like I think we both agree on how the game should be played. Or like overall, I think there's some micro decisions that me and Aurora definitely do differ on, but I think overall playstyle wise, I think me and Aurora are on the same page for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I did a lot of my like learning not learning, that's a bad word. I'm trying to think of a good word to use. Like a lot of my identity, I guess, for because realistically, like Season 1, 2, and 3, I felt like I was very good when I played back then compared to the competition that I was against.
Mm-hmm.
But it was way different back then. So like I was supposed to be out of the league. I feel like after Season 3, I feel like people thought I was done. But I've always been someone that loves the game and just wanted to bounce back. So I feel like I kind of had to change the way I played and kind of adapt to like the new era of Smite. And I feel like when I was like doing that, I was with Cyno, and I feel like a lot of our like ideas and the way we approach things are very similar because I learned with him through the year, because we were the last place team starting out in Season 5.
Yep.
We also Season 4, I also played with him, and we had no scrims, which was very unfortunate. So I felt like I did a lot of figuring out the game with Cyno and being able to do things to win, basically.
Right.
So
There's going to be a lot more of that this year, I have
Yeah.
to imagine. Who do you think is the most ferryman player on the Styx Ferrymen?
Baskin,
for sure.
Why do you say that?
because he's a ferryman. He's a merryman as well. He's always happy.
I think though we got to break this down into categories, and we're at risk of getting back into a toast conversation here, but that's okay. We've talked a lot about Smite. What are ferrymen good at? Rowing, right?
I see what you're saying.
Right,
now.
like being on the water.
So I'd still probably say Baskin, even though I love the water.
I would say you maybe for water.
I think we got let's set the categories. I think just existing on the water is a talent in and of itself. Not everyone can be on a boat and stay there and live there.
Paul does really good tricks on the water, though.
Really? In a swimming pool
Oh,
or
yeah,
No, on the
I do.
river.
In the
Yeah, I
river,
do.
In the
yeah.
river, he has like the craziest tricks. You wouldn't. You would have to,
like the Chattahoochee River.
Yeah,
over
the
here?
Chattahoochee.
What do you guys do?
We
Like
shoot
get on the tubes?
Yeah,
and,
we shoot the hooch
Oh, that's
last
great.
year.
Yeah.
And Paul just had some, like it's unexplainable, like how crazy and grand
to
the
know.
tricks
What-
were. Like you have to see it yourself. Like you can't even put it in
Like
words.
are you like on like one of the inner tubes? You were.
I kind of know what you're talking about, but I don't know what you're talking about to that.
You can't describe how cool and just out of the world the
Are you
tricks
saying
are.
in like the raft?
Yeah.
He was doing tricks.
Yeah, he was doing tricks.
Like
you,
flipping upside down.
You have to
and
see it for yourself.
I almost
Like-
can't believe it.
Like you have to. You wouldn't be able to believe it. Like if you
My
saw
goodness.
it in person, then you'd understand. But
So
What
you
are you
think?
talking?
Are you actually talking about something and you're gonna key him in later, or
he
are you
knows
just?
what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about when I lost my glasses?
Maybe.
You might have lost him over the course of one of these tricks.
What are you talking about, man?
You're not supposed to give the full details.
Okay.
Right, we don't have
You have to leave it to imagination.
Okay.
Because here, I'm imagining Paul, he's in a donut, an inflatable donut,
Uh huh.
and he's grabbing onto both sides,
Yep.
and you're like spinning around, like head underwater, head
Yeah.
above water. Like that's what I'm imagining. That you're like
Yeah.
suddenly really good
Yeah, actually, yeah.
at
That's
that.
that's actually pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking you're doing it intentionally. I don't. The rapids can. I guess.
Yeah,
you
no,
don't
he
know
was
that.
doing it intentionally.
Yeah, I was-
100%.
I was-
Not even joking. He was doing tricks.
Yeah.
And he was showing off intentionally, and they were good tricks.
Okay, man. Bro, it's like what, like 3 hours on the river, man? We were bored out there.
Yeah, look, it gets. I don't know if you guys brought drinks or whatever, but you can like put the cooler
Yeah.
in the tube or whatever,
I saw that.
and then you're like, oh yeah, I got enough for a little while, and then like an hour in, you're done with them, and then you're like, the river's moving so slow. I got 3 hours to go until we get to our little let-off point.
Yeah,
You get sunburnt.
it's a good idea. Oh yeah, we got sunburned
Sa,
already.
I feel so bad for Sa.
We got burned. Yeah. Oh man.
That we did.
Is that mandatory field trip for the ferrymen back on the water?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah, we're
gotta
gonna do
go
that
at
this
least
year, yeah.
once this year. Have you done it yet or no?
I have in my life. I've basically lived here for 24 years.
How many times have you done it?
I've actually only ever gone as an adult. So like 3 or 4 times. It's one of those things that it's like it's fun, but like you do it once a year and like you feel like you've gotten your fill maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
100%.
I don't need to float down the river for 3 hours like every other weekend.
Maybe you
That
guys.
time though, I haven't in a while.
Maybe we should do an SPL field trip to the Chattahoochee, and get a camera crew out there. That'd be funny.
That's good content.
Yeah.
The entire squad
Yeah,
floating down
everybody
the river.
on the river. Yeah.
And we tie everyone's inner tubes together.
Oh my God, that'd be madness. I feel like.
Oh, yeah, we're
Um,
pretty far away from each other at some points.
Yeah.
I wonder who the biggest problem children would be as far as like breaking up like a little flotilla that we've got going on. As the ferryman, I imagine you guys would be great, right?
We'd be
We'd
perfect,
all be
yeah.
on the
We'd
same
be
page.
rowing.
No,
Yeah.
I'm breaking free out of there. I'm on my own, dude. I'm going
Well,
down
that's
the
the
river.
trickster. That's the water trickster in you. That's
I do
busting
my
out.
tricks, man. I can't be tied down.
We never got to the bottom of our Styx Ferrymen. So on the water, Paul may actually be the best.
That's true.
All Aror for sure.
Who do we think could row? You're in a rowboat, a small wooden rowboat. You know what I'm talking about. Like cliche. There's one bench in the middle, little white rowboat. That's the next category.
Mhm.
What's the demeanor of a ferryman? I mean, that guy's looking pretty stoic.
I'd say stoic is a good word, yeah.
Maybe stoic, concentrated,
Seasick, maybe.
determined. Well, he'd be a bad ferryman if he got seasick. So on the rowboat status, That's one category. On just being seaworthy in general, it's another category. And then having the attitude of stoicism and determination is another category. So taking all three of those things into account, who is the most ferryman on the Styx Ferrymen?
I'd say Woon Young Kim.
For me,
Sticking with Baskin?
Mm-hmm.
for myself, I would get tired rowing because I'm out of shape right now. I'll just be honest. Like I would row for probably like a couple minutes. I'd be like, okay, gosh, I am out of shape. That's what I would be saying after like a couple minutes of rowing.
But are you really high in the seaworthy category or the determination, stoicism, attitude category that can maybe bump your scores up?
Maybe.
Do you think you're overshooting your teammates?
But maybe that would be so low in the rowing category. We wouldn't even make it anywhere in the river. We'd still see the dock that we've launched off of.
Right. Baskin seems to be what Cyno's answer is.
Yeah, I think it's Baskin as well. Because I think
He has high marks in all the categories.
Right. Do you think he's just good at all of it?
yeah.
He's just good at everything.
I don't know if he
does,
can.
so.
I don't know if he could swim though. Actually, I've never been
Well,
swimming. with
ideally,
him.
you're in the boat the whole time, right? You're a
don't
bad
have to
ferryman
swim.
if you're falling out of the boat, I think.
That's true.
But you never know. When the seas get rough, you need a strong ferryman to be in charge. So maybe it's Baskin, except Paul can do some fun backflips and things. If nothing else, to figure out what Paul is doing out on the river, I gotta figure things out here. All right, we'll do some rapid fire questions and then round things out here. Who do you think over the course of this year is going to be I'll say it in a nice way, the biggest pick ban innovator that Reels has to kind of reel in a little bit? Who's going to be the most outspoken and vocal when it comes to like, we should pick this here and having it be completely out of pocket?
So one of you guys. I don't know.
No, I want to hear from you, Paul. I
It's
could guess your
probably-
answer.
What am I gonna say?
I just want to hear it.
Okay, so we're playing Bog solo. We're also playing like ESET jungle and what else was it we played? Did we play anything else? Or did we just lose on that?
What did I play?
We saw 2 games of yours during
I
the
played
play-in
Circad
tournament.
and East at that tournament.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So
What did I play that tournament? Do you know?
In the kickoff tournament?
Yeah, I don't even
Did you
remember.
play Ares? No.
In the kickoff tournament, you played Kabrakan game 1,
Uh-huh.
Ganesh game 2.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
My
I thought I
answer-
played something else.
My answer would probably be Cyno, but it could also be Baskin because dude, he was in love with the Bog there for a second. I don't know.
It's probably me, I'm going to be honest. But
But we've already discussed the difference between out of left field and maybe what should be getting played, right?
yeah, I have reasons for it, though.
Right.
You know.
I'm feeding the ego a bit. I'm sorry, fellas. Although, Chernobog, look, he went 8-3-6 in game 1, 5-2-5 in game 2. The Baskin Bog solo might have something cooking there.
All I'm saying is this to your first question, though, is that I think Reels has his job cut out for him with all 5 of us.
Do you think?
I think it's like you could put one person in front of the other, but I think like this combination of players, you never know what's gonna come out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough year for him.
Yeah,
But
he's got a lot of work
It's trolling
to
us.
do.
if history is any indicator, you're going to find your way back to the World Championship finals, and it could be a successful year for that reason alone. What do you think, Aror? Did you give a definitive answer on who you think the biggest pick ban?
I think like I said, it could be anyone.
Could be
of us.
anyone at any given time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like for sure, including myself as well. I'm not excusing myself from the conversation.
Well, yeah, but you
either.
got to keep things fresh every once in a while.
Mhm.
All right, an actual question from chat, and this can be the last one before we wrap up. Do you think either one of the 2 groups is going to be stronger this year between the Order side and the Chaos side? I'm trying to remember who is in all the different
Are the
groups. to be
groups
honest.
for the entire year?
Right now, is my understanding is it's for phase 1, and you'll play the teams within your group twice, the teams in the other group once. The top team from each group will automatically go to Masters, and the other 6 teams in the league will have to go through the qualification process. So you find yourself in the group of the Kings, you guys, Hounds, Ravens, other side, Oni, Warriors, Dragons, Leviathans, Gladiators. Do you think one side is more obviously strong than the other side, or do you think it's pretty evenly split?
I feel like it's hard to say without
Yeah.
any SPL games being played.
Based on like everything up to this year, I think that's pretty even.
Yeah.
Stuff can change though,
Yeah,
obviously.
I think it's pretty even. Maybe our side is a bit stronger.
The only argument like they can make about the two, like it's how good the Gladiators are gonna do. I feel like the Hounds have proved that they could be pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think the Gladiators had an insane run in the qualification tournament.
Yep.
We'll just have to see how well they do. But if they are like decent, they don't have to be an amazing team. I think it's pretty even, for sure.
Predict for me, if you will. Who wins Order Division? Who wins Chaos Division after Phase 1? Going into Masters.
I don't know.
Styx Ferrymen, Order side, right?
We're gonna win Order, and Warriors will win Chaos.
Yeah.
My prediction.
You heard it here first. You agree, Paul?
So my guess is, dude, Warriors or Levies on Chaos, and us or Kings on Order, probably. One of those.
Could be a safe bet. Well, it's going to be an exciting Phase 1. And the Styx Ferrymen with Baskin leading the rowboat charge as the most ferryman. And Reels with his work cut out for him. And Aror with his extensive memory of all things Smite. And Cyno with his irregular but regular god pool. And Paul doing Paul things.
Paul doing tricks in the tube.
Paul doing backflips, and it was wild. I couldn't believe he stood up on an inner tube on a river and did a standing backflip and landed back on his inner tube. That was absolutely unreal.
Definitely fell under.
Someone chat said he's Hebo in real life, which is true.
In a way.
Yeah.
In a way. Well, fellas,
one
thanks
with the
for...
river.
What'd you say?
He's one with the river.
That's right, and that's good, especially if Hebo's going to be good over the course of the year this year. And Aror, you got to get there if Umoja's going to keep being good in the SPL. Literal Rivers rebuke. So,
You guys love Umoja, I bet.
yeah, we've seen her in a few games, and
Just a few.
just a handful. All right, that's been Cyno, Aror, Paul. This is the Styx Ferrymen. That's been Chat. And thanks so much, Chat, for stopping by, asking your questions. Fellas, thanks for sitting down with me, and we'll see you on the battleground. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.